my topic is, you're the gift.
And so I am.
Beg your pardon?
And so on.
And so I am.
And so you are.
Then we're done.
Oh, you would just like that, wouldn't you?
No.
So,
Sorry, I just felt that.
our philosophical leader, the one that gave us the philosophy that we call religious science, or incorporated it, Ernest Holmes, said this about this holiday time. The question is, who is Christ? He replied, the Son, begotten of the only Father, not the only begotten Son of God. Christ means the universal idea of sonship, of which each of us is a member. His point is that Jesus is our great example, not a great exception. And that we are all the Christ, the sonship of the universal one that we call God or the Father. And so we all come into this world as expressions of that essence that is divine. And we come with skills and talents. We are the gift. And I can look around this room and I can identify the diversity of talent that we have here. We have organizers and writers and wisdom and beautiful words and wisdom, humor. We've got photography and eye, and we just got so much talent. Each one present has got a unique and special talent. I was thinking about the symbolism of candy canes. We look at a candy cane and they're all spiraled. They're all different elements. And when we weave things together, as we do in this community, we know that they are strong. And their flavor is richer because of the diversity of the talents and the skills. It's sort of like we each have an instrument to play, and we bring our instruments together and create a symphony so that every instrument that we are of the universal expression plays into the music, the symphony of the divine. And even my kazoo has a place in there. We all are part of the whole. We are the gift, and we bring the gifts. I met a woman this week who was telling me about her special birthday present from her children. And her children gave her a little box. And in the box, they had written 60 things that they appreciated about the gift of her being.
Wow.
And that was such a precious gift to her, to be acknowledged in such a way, to be told how perfectly unique her gifts were. And so she said she would read one and think about it and reminisce about it and feel the love that those gifts, statements brought to her. And then the next day she would read another one. So she is going through that little box filled with 60 acknowledgments of her talents and skills. And she said, when she got through reading them, she'd start all over again. What a wonderful gift that is. She is the gift to her children, and then her children gave her back the gift of herself and acknowledged her in such a way. So when, we talk about the holidays, and I don't know about you, but rushing around. It behooves us to step back and remind ourselves what it really is about. It is about the Christhood. It is about being the sonship of Spirit of the divine. It's about bringing our gifts, not our material presence, but our gifts to the world. A couple of days ago, I was walking out here right in front of on the sidewalk, and people have a tendency to walk up and down. There was a young man walking. He was maybe 22, 23. He was walking next to the wall. And I just was looking around, doing what I was doing, walking. And all of a sudden, he looked up and he made eye contact and he said, "Merry Christmas." Such a simple little thing, but it sat with me. It was such a wonderful connection of spirit. Simple. He gave his gift to me in a very easy, effortless way. And somehow or other, I've cherished that all week. I've sort of rested in that. That eye contact with a total stranger just wishing me a Merry Christmas. It was precious. I want to also tell you about a Native American from the Santa Clara Pueblo, Michael Naranjo, who is a sculptor of great fame in New Mexico. And he sculpts powerful, beautiful images of nature, wolves and owls and eagles. So Michael Naranjo was called into the Vietnam War, and he went to service in Vietnam, leaving his Pueblo, and he had not been in the world. But he went, and he talks about how he had been changed by the experience. And he related a story of going into a hut with his MP3 rifle, whatever the number. And he encountered a little Vietnamese man who was drinking tea. And the little Vietnamese man offered him a cup of tea, which he declined. So the Vietnamese man drank his tea with this American soldier standing in his living room with his great big huge gun. And Michael Naranjo talks about what simplicity and what peace of spirit this little Vietnamese man brought. And as a Native American, Naranjo was taught to respect his elders. And he speculated on how that whole conflict with the Vietnamese and how being at war had really changed him. And he wasn't particularly happy about what he encountered within himself. That he felt that he had become indifferent and a little hardened. But that's not the part that I want to tell you about Michael Naranjo. What happened was he was in a grenade explosion. And he was blinded by the explosion, and his right hand was injured. So he lost control and ability to use his right hand well. And while he was in the hospital, he really was concerned about what his life was going to look like. And so he asked for some clay. And they brought him some clay. And he shaped a bird. And so from that place of realizing that his talents were still available to him, that he could still continue to pursue his talent and his gift, that he was clear on what his life was going to look like and unfold. And so now, as I said, he's a very, very famous sculptor, using only his left hand and being blind. And the things that he shapes are all shaped from the recollection of his memory, from when he used to herd sheep with his brother. So Michael Naranjo, to me, is a wonderful example of someone who has gifts that bring to the world in unique and amazing ways. And we all have those gifts. We all came with them, pre-programmed. But somehow or other, we often get in our own way. We forget that we are the Christ, the sonship. We are the God. And so as Jesus is the great example, so too are we. We all have talents and skills that are called forth in this world. Another thing that I've been thinking about this year is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I love that story. And it was written by Robert May in 1934, 1935, something like that. And he was a copywriter for Montgomery Ward. And so every year, Montgomery Ward would give gifts to their customers of books or coloring books. And so he was asked, as a copywriter, to write a story that they could make a coloring book out of to give to their customers, which he did. And it's really the story of him because he had felt ostracized and shy and unaccepted as he was growing up. And so he wrote this book and he shared it with his daughter, who was entranced with it. And it became a big hit through Montgomery Ward distributing his book. Well, as all of that was occurring, that he was writing his book, his wife had cancer and died. And he was inundated by medical bills. Now this to me is the good part of the story. The president of Montgomery Ward, Mr. Sewell, gave him the rights to the Rudolph story. And that is how he paid his medical bills. I think that's just delicious. And his brother-in-law then wrote music for it, for the Rudolph story. which was recorded by Gene Autry, which has become the most popular Christmas song, other than White Christmas, of all time. So how does the story go? Let's all just maybe sing it together, shall we? Why don't we all know it, right? Okay, who's going to start us? Chris? Just start. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
Like Columbus.
Absolutely. Now, is that or is that not a lovely metaphysical song? I think so. And we all relate to it on some level. It's the hero's journey, the one that doesn't quite fit in. And I don't know, my best guess is there are a lot of folks in this room who feel like they don't quite fit in, right? You don't have to raise your hand. And yet, taking the gift of our oddities, taking the gift of our uniqueness, taking the gift of our talents, and offering them to the world, how wonderful that is. And it's a story that we teach our children. That no matter what, no matter who they are, they have unique talents and skills to bring to the table. So, just a reminder, as we go through this holiday season, we are, you are the gift. I love you all. Namaste. So I'd invite the practitioner.